guys. So I thought really hard about this video, and I was like, okay, like I really want to make it more serious, more in my house, like not in my car, not driving around. Like I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna really like do this video, it's gonna be super special or whatever. But then the days keep going, and it's like I still have so many videos I need to make. And I think this video is so important that I want to make sure it gets made. And the reality of it is that one of the easiest times for me to film is when I'm driving and I'm just by myself. Most of my clients are at least like 20 minutes out from me, because basically where I was grooming previously at my last job was about 20 minutes from me. So obviously a lot of my clients come from that area. So anyway, one of the easiest times for me to film is when I'm driving home. So, anyway, I just wanted to talk about 2019. Like, it's such a surreal year to me. Like, one thing that's been sitting with me a lot the last few days, or weeks really, is like thinking about where I was when this year started. Like, who I was when this year started. And I was so, like, just broken. Like when this year started, like just honest to God, like I was just like such a broken person, and I knew I had to pick up the pieces and put myself back together. I had just suffered the second like huge loss that I've had. The second family member that I was really close to that passed away in just like a 2-year period. So it was like, I don't know, it's like when you go through something like that, it's almost like you feel like, oh, well, you know, yeah, I went through that, but it's like, I don't know, to me, it was like, now I'm, like, when my grandma died, it was like, well, now, like, it's gonna be a long time before I'll lose anybody else. It's like, and I know, like, life isn't like that, but that's how my brain thought. It was like, okay, I just suffered a lot of pain, so it's gonna be a while before I go through anything else. So, losing Dwayne was, like, so, like, I was so blindsided. Like, he was really young, he was, like, 48, and it was, like, so out of nowhere, because he had a heart attack. Just in case you don't know who Dwayne is my stepdad. He had a heart attack, and they kept him around for a couple months, but he didn't make it. And one day I'm going to do a whole story time on that, but it's really hard to talk about. So I just don't think I'm ready to make that video yet, but I think it's an important video to make. Because I know, especially the first death that I dealt with, I felt so alone. Unless I was talking to somebody that had, like, been through it. So, anyway, if I can make that video and help somebody else, because, like, when you lose somebody, it's so, like, you hear the same things over and over. One that, like, would really irk me right after everything happened was, like, oh, you're strong, you can get through this, things will get better, and blah, blah, blah. And it's, like, when you just, like, lost somebody that was so important to you, like, it doesn't feel like things are going to get better in that moment. And to just say something like that without anything to back it up, to me, just didn't help. It didn't, like, and I know, like, I didn't take it personally, and I didn't, like, take my frustration out on anybody, but it was just, like, you know, like, when somebody's trying to help you in the words, like, you can just tell it didn't, you know? So, anyway, I got a lot of that. So, yeah. When I started this year, like I said, I knew I wasn't in a good spot. After my grandma died, I went to therapy for a while and kind of learned a little bit more about, like, how life works and how to be a good person. And when Dwayne died, I felt myself going back to the spot that I was before, you know, when my grandma died. So I knew at the beginning of this year, I was like, I have to turn this around. Like, yeah, I can go back to therapy, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with going to therapy, but it's like when you're busy as fuck and you don't have an extra hour a week to commit to a therapist, you know what I mean? It's like, I just knew I had to figure this out by myself, and I just had to do it, and I knew I could do it. That was the thing, I knew I could do it. And when I went to therapy before, I knew I couldn't do it. So if you're, like, at that spot where you're like, I don't think I can do this, that's, for me, the time that I think you should go talk to somebody. But for me, I know when I can handle something, and I knew I could handle it. It was just, like, I had to pick myself up, dust myself off, and keep going. And that's what I did. I knew like I said, I knew I had to figure out who I was. I knew I had to figure out what I wanted, because when my grandma died, my biggest thing was like, oh, I need to figure out my purpose. Well, when Dwayne died, I knew I was a groomer. I knew I wanted to own my own business. I knew that this is what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be, and I hate to even say influencer, because that's not really what I want, but I want to be, like, I guess, a grooming personality. Like, what do you call it? Like, I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to be an influencer. I don't really want stuff sent to me. I don't want to, like, an influencer to me, like, when I hear that, I think of, like, somebody influencing you to buy shit. I don't want to, like, influence you to buy shit, even though I do. Like, me and Grace talk about it a lot. I know, I'm, like, always like, oh, you guys gotta try this stuff, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not, like, a damn walking billboard. That's not me. But I wanted to be a YouTuber. That's what I wanted. And I was scared. I was so scared. I posted videos. Okay, let me think. I think about this time last year was when I started making practice videos. I watch a lot of vlogs, like Peter vlogs, and they're just like this, that he's just talking and driving around. So I was like, oh, I want to make videos like that, because that's what I like watching. So I tried to make a video like that and realized very quickly that I was not very good at staying on subject. I was like jumping all over the place, and it wasn't quite as easy as turning on a camera like I thought it was. Like, I really, like, that's what I thought it was. You just turn on a camera. It's that easy, right? But it's not. Like, you kind of have to stay on track. Like, if you just like try to like blab off, like, you know, and not saying I do like just stay on one track, but I'm better at it, you know, like, now that I'm a little more practiced, I'm better at it. So around this time last year, I was probably making vlogs that I wasn't uploading, because I didn't really start seriously uploading to YouTube until March, because that's when I went to Atlanta Pet Fair and talked to Delise in June. And, like, honestly, it feels like it was so much longer ago than that. Like, it's hard to believe that was only, like, months ago. It wasn't even a year ago at this point. Like, March will be a year, so it's like, wow, like, so much has happened. Okay, so those were, like, my big things was, like, you know, I knew I needed to do something, like, what I wanted to do with myself. I needed to figure that out. I knew I wanted to be a groomer, but I knew I wanted to take it to the next level. I knew I wanted to start my own business. I also was living with my boyfriend's parents, and we had, like, a small, like, kind of like an apartment space, but it was, like, they're really, like, it was very small. Like, we had a bedroom, and then, like, another room that had, like, our kitchen and bathroom, and, like, all of that, like, kind of all in one spot. So it was, like, this, like, little crammed area. There was, like, a lot of other people, like, that were there, and it was just, like, a lot for me. I was just so desperate for my own space. So in January of 2019, I just, like, got this, like, urge. I was like, I've got to start my own business. Like, that's what I want. Like, Dwayne was gone. I knew I was getting money. I was like, I want to take that money and I want a mobile grooming van. That was my initial thought. I was like, I want a van. And I spoke to my financial guy. He recommended, why don't you buy a house and then you can work out of your house. So I started looking for a house, which was honestly killing two birds with one stone for me, because I really wanted my own business and I really wanted my own house, my own space. So looked everywhere for a house. It felt like forever, but it really wasn't that long, because I found my house by May. I started looking in January, February time, and then I got my house in May, like I said. And then I got my house, I got all settled in, and that was like such, like, I remember how huge it was for me to have that house. Like, it was like, wow, like, I finally have my own space. Like, this is my house. Like, I get to say what goes here. Like, it's just like such a surreal feeling. And, like, you know, house shopping is so fun, and, like, it's just like having, like, a full-size kitchen, like, everything is just so, like, surreal. And it's like, okay, so now I have this house, and then I was like, okay, so I'm gonna start my business. And then, as you know, if you've been following me, like, it didn't turn out that way. Like, I bought this house, and my real estate agent was supposed to have looked into it and checked into zoning, and she was supposed to have made sure that wherever we bought the house, that I would be able to open my business. And I assumed that she had done that, and that's my fault. I should have checked behind her, but I didn't. And basically, as I was going through the process of getting my business started, and I was getting basically if you're going to start a business and you're getting a loan, then you have to get all your numbers together. So I was trying to get all my numbers together to project how much it was going to cost me to start this business, to know how much I would need for my loan. And I ended up finding out that I was not zoned in an area that could have a business. So the zoning lady in my town highly pushed me to start a mobile business, which is back to where I wanted to be initially. So it's like really kind of funny how it like went full circle, and now I'll have a house and hopefully a mobile business very soon. And it's crazy, like, to think, like, by the time I'm making this video next year, because I want to keep making these videos, because I think it like humbles me in a way, like, to be like, holy shit. Like, last year at this time, like, just to accomplish what I've accomplished right now, like, I was in Groomer TV, or Groomer to Groomer magazine this year. I was on Groomer TV this year. I did a live video on Groomer TV. I got to go to a seminar with Blake Hernandez for free. Somebody paid for me to go to Hershey, Pennsylvania for free. I met Todd. I started working with Josh Morales. Like, yeah, like, oh my god, like, I think about it, because I was like, I knew Josh last year, but I didn't even, like, last January, I didn't know Josh, I think I knew who Blake was, but, I didn't personally know Blake. I definitely didn't know Todd from Barkley. Jay Scruggs, I've talked to Jay Scruggs a decent amount, like, all of these, like, big name groomers. Angela Cumpy, I've talked, like, a tiny bit, like, a little, like, we've, like, not even had a conversation. Like, she like commented on one of my things and I was like, whoa, like, I love her. So anyway, I got friend requests from like people that I've like learned to groom from, that like I didn't think had any idea that they knew who I was. I started working with the learntogroomdogs.com. Like, that's so I paid for that. Like, I was paying for learntogroomdogs.com, and now I like work with them, and it's like surreal. It's surreal. When I started grooming, I couldn't even find classes to take. I couldn't even find classes. There was no schools near me, and I was like, it was so hard to find this information, and it's like now I have all of this like education for free at my fingertips, and it's like unreal. I mean, I'm on Hydra's PR list, like, what? I work with a shear company, Fresh Groom, like, what? Like, when this year started, I was like, the biggest thing that ever happened to me was I won a clipper, from Andis. I won, like, an Andis Pulse ZR2, in a contest, and it's not, like, I don't think I won it because, like, actually, at that point, nobody knew who I was. I mean, Andis kind of did because I tagged them all the time and things, but, like, you know, as far as, like, the grooming world goes, like, I didn't know any of these people, and, like, the fact that I'd won that clipper, I remember that I felt guilty when I won that clipper, because when I started grooming, I bought myself a 2-speed Andis. And then once I started, like, I went out on my own grooming, and I bought myself a 5-speed because I wanted to upgrade, and I wanted to make sure I had a backup because I, like, heard so many stories of people's clippers dying on them, so I wanted to, like, upgrade and then use my 2-speed as my backup. And I bought my 5-speed, I literally didn't even have it for, like, a month or two, and I won that Pulse CR2. I felt so guilty, like, that I'd won. I was like, like, somebody out there probably really, like, doesn't have, like, and now I have, like, 3 clippers, like, and, like, I just remember, like, I really fought hard about, like, giving it to somebody else, but then I thought about it, and I was like, I've never won anything. I never won anything, like, never, ever in my life have I won anything like that, ever. It's still, like, surreal that I won that. Like, I don't know if I'll ever win another contest, but, like, the fact that I won that Pulse CR2 is, like, insane to me. Like, and I remember that was so huge then, and I got featured on, Wall posted one of my pictures, and I remember that those were my, like, if you would have asked me last year, that would have been my biggest accomplishment, was that I won a pair of clippers, and that I was featured on Wall's page. Now, I've been featured on Andis's page at least twice this year, I was in Groomer magazine. It was like an article about Hershey. I was like, if you read it, it's the first paragraph. It's like the most recent edition of Groomer magazine that came out, Groomer to Groomer. And that's a free magazine if you've never looked into it. So that's really sweet. Yeah. God, what a fucking year. Like, oh, in my hair, like, that's, like, I know to, like, many people it probably seems like such a small thing, but, like, I didn't realize, like, how different it made me feel as, like, a person to have, like, my red hair back. Like, I remember that night, like, I dyed my hair at night, and then, like, the next morning, like, waking up and being like, I have my hair back. Like, I, like, felt like myself again. It's, like, so insane. Like I said, it's just hair, but, like, I don't know. Red hair has always been, like, so special to me. I've always, like, just really liked it. I've, like, always had, like, you know, when you, like, watch cartoons and stuff, there was ever, like, a redheaded character in a movie or whatever. That was always my favorite. Like, I just, like, have always had this thing about, like, red hair. So, it was honestly, like, whenever I switched my hair from red to, like, a brownish color, it was kind of a big deal for me. Like, it was kind of, like, a moment. And I thought it was me, like, maturing, but it was, like, almost like I was covering up a part of myself, which is, like, really interesting for, like, the time frame in which I did change it. It was, like, I was really dulling myself out. Like, God, like, really thinking about it, I was, like, dulling my personality down. I was, like, dulling myself out because I was gonna get a job. Like, my grandma was sick at the time. She was sick for about a year before she died, so she was sick, and like I said, I had this, like, moment of, like, oh, I've got to figure out what I'm gonna do, and I felt like I needed to do the responsible thing and get a job at a bank. So I was like, oh, they're not gonna hire a girl at the bank with, like, a bunch of tattoos and, like, this bright, fiery red hair. I can't do that. So I dyed my hair brown. And, you know, it was, like, almost like this kind of, like, growing up moment for me. But, I don't know. It wasn't in, like, a good way. It was, like, I was, like I said, like, dulling myself out. Like, becoming a more bland version of myself. And I just never realized until I dyed my hair back red, like, how different, like, just having shit hair made me feel. Like, I hated how my hair was before I dyed it back red. Like, that, like, faded. Oh, it was awful. It was terrible. Like, even on, like, days where I should have been having, like, a good hair day, just washed it and blow dried it, it didn't even look good. I hated it so much. Like, and I would get compliments here and there, but it was like, oh, my hair is, like, terrible. I hated it. So, like I said, it seems like a silly thing, but just changing my hair back made me feel so myself again. So, it's been a crazy year. Like, a really crazy year. I feel like I'm even, like, forgetting to, like, mention things that happened, and I'm sure I am, but that was, like, the biggest things, like, just the mentions in the magazines, and the, like, meeting people, and, like, my channel, like, in March was, like, 80 people, like, I think 70, 80 people, I think I had subscribed to me in March, and I was like, oh, nobody knows who I am, or whatever, and now it's, like, I have, like, 300 something subscribers, and it's, like, like, I've already feel like I've, like, made it, and I know that's, like, in the grand scheme of things, that's, like, such a low number, but it's really not. Like, it's, like, the fact that 300 people would, like, want to subscribe to me and, like, watch these videos that I just, like, talk about nothing, like, it's, like, wow. I don't know. It's hard to believe. I don't know. That's been the, like, that was Hershey especially, like, it was, like, I kept feeling like, you know, I'd go and, like, talk to somebody, they, like, know who I was, and I'd be like, what? I just remember I kept saying to Jilly, like, I just can't believe it. It's like, this is just hard to believe. I can't wrap my head around it. I still haven't. I'll never be able to wrap my head, like, even though, like, a bunch of, like, more of, like, the head groomers, like, told me they watched my videos, it's like, I don't believe them. I don't know, like, I don't, like, it's like, I mean, maybe you watched a few minutes of one because, like, somebody told you to or something, but it's, like, hard to believe that they, like, watch my videos. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but I guess it's kind of cool. I feel, like, pretty important to the grooming industry, which, like, so surprising to say, because I don't know, I feel like I was, like, nobody last year, and now this year I feel like I'm somebody. That's really crazy. I don't know. It's hard to swallow. And here's the thing too, is, like, I've found, like, it's, like, really hard, like, it's hard to find that line of, like, feeling confident without coming across, like, arrogant, you know? Like, I don't ever want to come across as, like, arrogant, so, like, I just don't want somebody to, like, take it the wrong way when I'm like, oh, I feel like I've, like, made it in the grooming industry or whatever, like, people know who I am. Like, I don't want to come across as, like, pretentious. It's, like, more that, like, sometimes I have to say it out loud to let it sink into me. Like, people know who the fuck I am, and I'm like, what? Who cares, like, who I am? You know what I mean? Like, I just can't, I can't wrap my head around it. I don't know if I'll ever be able to wrap my head around it. And then I think about, like, big celebrities, and it's, like, how it must feel to be them. Like, Billie Eilish is, like, so young. She's turned, like, 18. Like, what it must be to be, like, 18 and that famous. Like, she's got, like, 46 million followers or something on Instagram. Like, something insane. It's, like, I just hit 1,800 on Instagram, and it's, like, I feel famous. It's, like, so crazy to me. Like, all of it. This whole year has just been insane. If you would have told me at the beginning of this year that I was going to do a live stream on Groomer TV, I don't think I wouldn't have believed you. It's still, like, surreal in that moment. Like, I remember how scared I was, but, like, also it was, like, so fun. I want to do it again. They've never asked me to. They're like, bitch, you talked for way too long. They're like, we're never letting you on here again. I talked for, like, a damn hour, you guys. They were like, oh, talk for at least 20 minutes. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to talk for 20 minutes. Like, what am I going to talk about? And I was on there for, like, an hour. They were like, your thing was really long. Like, yeah, well, don't tell me to talk for a long time, because I will surely do that. We're at 21 minutes right now, okay? Like, I can talk, okay? A bitch can talk, okay? I probably need a podcast. Like, I've thought about that. I'm like, I want a podcast. But what would I do a podcast about, though, honestly? Like, one day if I think of a good topic, maybe we'll do a podcast, because I can sure as hell talk for a podcast. But, yeah. Wow. It's just, like, so crazy wrapping my head around this year. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I didn't mention that's, like, been huge, that's, like, really affected me this year. Just, like, working with brands. Like, at the beginning of this year, like, I really wanted to work with brands. I didn't work with anybody. I just remember I was trying really hard to get noticed by, like, Wall and Andis. And now it's so funny, because, like, at the end of the year, now I don't want to work with, like, anyone. Except for, like, the ones I have, like, already. But I'm not adding any new ones at all. Like, I don't care to, like... Not that, I don't want to... That sounds, like, terrible to be like, I don't care to work with people. It's not that. It's just that, like... I like having my creative freedom. And when you have stuff that's, like, given to you or whatever, it's... You just... I don't feel like I have that freedom. Even if they're like, no, you're free to say whatever, it's like, that's almost worse. Like, I don't know. I can't, like, if somebody, like, does something nice and I know, like, okay, they gave me this product and they're like, you make a video about it and I know they're going to be watching it, it's like, I have trouble just being like, this sucks. You know what I mean? And it's like, when I'm making a video about it, though, I want to be, like, brutally honest about it. And it's so much easier if I just buy it myself or whatever. So that's my goal for 2020 is, like, to, obviously get a van. The van is goal number 1. And then goal number 2 is to make more money so I can buy more shit, so I can review more shit. And obviously once I have the van, videos will obviously be different. I'll do a lot more tutorials. I'm still going to mix it up, though, because I don't ever want to just become, like, a grooming tutorial channel. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but there's plenty of good grooming tutorial channels. There's some you can pay for, there's some that are free, there's all kinds of that, and I'll still share, like, tips and tricks with you, but I've always kind of wanted to do more, like, review kind of stuff. I love reviewing products, stuff like that, although I will say it's, like, getting harder and harder, because I'm getting pickier and pickier. So, like, I've noticed with the shampoo department, especially, it's like I'm getting very stuck on my Hydra, and it's like I don't want to branch too much out of the box, because I've had issues with other products, so it's like, I don't know. But yeah, I want to try out new clippers, maybe some new shears. I really want to get those Usumi Speedies eventually, let you guys know if they're worth buying versus, like, other shears that are, like, way cheaper, because the Speedies are, like, $500 or something. But yeah, I think 2020 is going to be a really big year. Like, I have a feeling next year, even though this year, like, was huge, it was huge. Like, the fact that I when I started this year, I said as a goal I wanted to go to Hershey, and like I kept saying like I want to go to Hershey. I don't know how I'm gonna get there. I don't have the money to do it, but like I want to go to Hershey, and like I just kept thinking that like all year. I put it on my vision board. I was like, I want Hershey, and I freaking went. Like, and it happened like a month before. Like at the point I was so sure I wasn't going. Like I was like, there's no way. Like people were asking me like, oh, are you gonna be there? And I was like, no, I'm not. Like I was like, there's no way I'm going. And then it just like happened. So I don't know. It's kind of like, okay, so like law of attraction, you speak what you want out into the universe. You don't worry about the specifics. Like I want a van. I don't know how I'm gonna get a van. I don't have the money. Like you know, you gotta have like 15,000 down. So it's like I don't know how I'm gonna do all that. So it's like, but I want a van. So that's if you're doing like law of attraction, for example, like you would just say like I want a van, putting that out in the universe, and then you picture yourself like driving the van, owning the van, like seeing it every day when you come home, like that kind of stuff, and it's supposed to bring it into your universe. So anyway, I do that. I mean, and even if it doesn't like work that way, then you know, at least it's like keeping you on the right like thought pattern of like, rather than being like, I'll never get a van, like it's so expensive, I'll never get one. Like instead of thinking that way, I'm just gonna keep thinking like picturing myself driving it. Like every time I see one, I use that as like a reminder, like a little like, hey, from the universe, like, hey, remember you really want your van, like, and I just like, you know, just picture I'm driving my little van, like especially when I'm on the way to clients' houses, I just like imagine I'm driving my van instead of my car. Like, oh, I can't wait. Y'all, you don't understand how long setup and shit takes. Like, it adds so much time to my groom, so it'll just be so nice when I can just go up and knock on the door and be like, hey, dog, please, and then I'm just good to go, and I have a bathing system, too, and, like, oh, I can't wait. That's gonna be great. By this time next year, I'm hoping I might even be making this video in my van. Wouldn't that be something? I'm just, like, picturing my van. Just can't wait. It's gonna be so great. It's been a really good year. Like, I remember last year not thinking it was a bad year, even though it was, like, I mean, arguably you could say it was, like, a shit year. Like, a lot of people would say, like, if they had gone through what I went through in 2018, they'd be like, that was a shit year. Because, like, dealing with Dwayne being in the hospital was, like, it was terrible. Like, literally, there's no other way to describe it. It was literally awful. And one day we'll talk about it, but it's so painful to even bring back the memories and like go there again that it's like I don't even want to talk about it right now. But so yeah, you could argue that 2018 was like a really shit year, but I knew like 2018 as it was ending, I just knew like it was a year for me to learn and grow, and that's what I did, and it taught me I needed to get better as a person, and I did, and I kept trying to get better. And it made me put some goals in place and to really work towards them and kind of to prove that I could manifest whatever I wanted. You know, like I said at the beginning of 2019, I said I wanted to start my business in October of this year. I was like, in October of this year, I do not want to be at the doghouse anymore. I want to be running my own business and doing things my way. And October of 2019, I started my own business and I started doing my own way, and I didn't have to be at the doghouse anymore. And it's like crazy because like I almost fell off for a minute, and it was like as bad as that dog bite was when I got bit a few months back. It was like wake up call. Hey, hello, you wanted to get the fuck out of here. I was starting to get comfortable. When I got bit, I was really at a point that, like, I had just bought my house. I had bills now, and the thought of going out on my own was, like, a lot scarier than it was previously. And I was like, you know, this, to me, staying where I was at was, like, the safe choice. And I was starting to feel that way, that, like, you know, maybe I can just stay here a little bit longer. Even though I had said full well, I was like, I don't want to be here any longer. I can't make it a few more months, you know, all of that. I was like so ready. Like I said, I had already said I wanted to be out of there by October. I wanted to start my own business in October, so on and so forth. I said by Halloween I wanted to have my business started. And here I was settling. And I was settling. I was like, this is nice, being able to guarantee how much money is coming in. I had a lot of clients. I was really busy. And I was like, this is nice. And I was like feeling really comfortable. And then I got bit. And then it was like this place is not safe. Like, I'm talking, like, I'm like over here thinking, like, oh, this is the safe place to be. Like, had that motherfucker bit my hand and not my fucking leg, he could have ended my career. So to say that that was the safe place to be was not. They didn't kick the dog out. He still is there to this day, and I'm just saying, I've heard a few stories about him, and they're gonna be lucky to keep that building open if they keep letting that dog there. That's all I'm saying. He's, let's just say I'm not the last person that he's bit. He's gotten 2 other people I know of. So anyway, it was like, holy shit, like, don't settle for this. What are you settling for? You don't need to settle in your life. And it was like, so that was like the first, like, hello, like, this, you need to wake up. And that's when I remember, like, I barely, like, healed up, like, I was still bruised, and I went and sat down with my financial guy, and I was like, I gotta get out of here. I was like, I'm gonna end up, like, severely injured if I stay at this place. I was like, they're not kicking this dog out, this is so dangerous, like, I need to get the fuck out. So we sat down, and that lit a flame again, and then it was like the same thing. Like, he was like, you know, and he even said, like, when we sat down that day, he was like, you've been sitting on this, like, we've been talking about this for so long and nothing's happened, like, you know, it's like you've been pushing this out. And I had been, like I said, I'd gotten really comfortable up until I got bit, and then it was like, oh shit, yeah, I need to figure out what I'm doing here. So that kind of started it. And then going to Hershey was like, it clicked. It was like, holy shit, like, I went to Hershey, and all these people that, you know, I'd been watching their videos for like years, now knew who I was. And I realized I kind of was somebody. Like, I wasn't just any groomer anymore. I was something special, like something to be excited about. And like, it sounds so, that's what I mean about that line about arrogance. I feel arrogant saying that I'm something special. Like, that feels so arrogant to say, but like, I don't know. That's how I feel. I think that I do have something special to bring to the table. I've always felt that way. So to like have that reiterated, I think like everybody kind of like figuring out who I was, and like me, like that made me realize, like, you know what, you are special. Like, even though I like really down on myself a lot, and I don't have a lot of confidence, and I don't think I deserve things, and like all of that is kind of like going back to what I was saying earlier about feeling guilty about things that were like, I shouldn't feel guilty about. Like, I shouldn't feel guilty for winning a contest when I've never won one before. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of stuff. So that, like, I don't know. It's just been so eye-opening this year. And like I said, just having, like, realizing, like, wait, all these people knew who I am, like, and I do have a good amount of followers, and I do have good engagement, and I do, like, my YouTube channel's growing, and, like, it always is growing, and, like, I get new people that comment on things, and it's just, like, you know, I don't have to put up with this shit anymore. And that's really how I felt when I left Hershey. And that's why I made that video, and I knew everything was changing. And I knew when I tried to walk back into the place I was working, like, I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I knew I was on my way out. Like, I felt different. Like, when I was there previously, like, I was so, like, me and my boss at the time, like, hated each other so much, and there was, like, so much animosity. And I remember leaving, when I left to go to Hershey, like, feeling that animosity, like, I hated her. Just seeing her face, like, just sent so much rage through me. And then it was like, I went to Hershey, and I came back, and it was like, I didn't even care anymore. I knew I was so beyond her that nothing she could say could even touch me. And it was like, I didn't need her anymore, and I knew I was on my way out. So it was like, I felt so different when I came in, and that's what I meant by when I said I knew everything was changing, because it was. And I knew that. I knew I felt different when I got home. And I think that was so important. Like, I think it was so important for me to go to Hershey, and I'm so glad I had that opportunity, because I, honest to God, I think if I hadn't gone to Hershey, that I probably would still be at the place I was at right now. I don't think I would have had that push to go out on my own, the confidence to go out on my own. I just don't think I would have. So yeah, it's been a really big year. I'm a very different groomer now than I was at the beginning of this year, and I feel good about it. I feel like now, especially being out on my own and being able to do things on my own terms, I'm getting a lot better at grooming, and I'm getting more confident as a person. I think that my videos are coming out better because I'm more myself and I'm more comfortable in them, and it's just like all of this has just been so incredible, and I'm just really thankful for this year, and I can't wait to be here next year to see what's gonna happen, you know? Like, isn't that so crazy? Like, I really, like, when I think about it, I accomplished everything I said I was going to accomplish this year, and like a lot of them were like huge goals that I never thought would happen. Like, I never thought I'd have my own house. I never thought I'd have my own business. Like, I just wanted it so bad, and that's what I wanted, and I was like, I just want to do it. Like, and the fact that I am right now is insane. So I'm thankful. I'm thankful for everybody that watches my videos, especially those of you that have made it this far, that like just actually will sit there and watch my whole video and just really care about me in that way. That's like surreal. It's always going to be surreal. So I appreciate you guys. I'm getting really close to my house now. So I'm going to get off, but I love you. I hope that you guys have also had a really good 2019. And if you haven't had a good 2019, then just know things are going to get better. Because like I said, I didn't have a great 2018. And even though I didn't, I knew in that moment that things were going to get better. Like, they always say, like, things get worse before they get better. That's kind of how it was. It was like, things were bad, and then they got worse, and then they got better. Like, so much better that it's, like, hard to believe. So there's goods and bads in the world, and just remember, you have to experience both. Like, and if you don't, then you don't, I feel like you just don't appreciate things the same way when you have everything that's just there in front of you. I can tell you 1000% that I didn't appreciate the people that were in my life until I lost somebody. And then once they were gone, it was like, holy shit, I need to appreciate people while they're here. So I've learned so much this year, last year, just in the last 3 years since I lost my grandma. I think I've grown more in those 3 years than I grew in the like 20 something years before that. So yeah, it's been a great year. I hope that you guys have had a great year too. And yeah, I guess I'm gonna get off here because I'm gonna be pulling up at my house in a minute. But I love you guys, and like I said, I hope you have had a really great 2019. And if you haven't, just don't worry, things always are going to get better, even when they feel like they won't. Because trust me, at the beginning of last year, or this year, I didn't think that they would get better. It didn't feel that way. It just felt like shit. So I felt both. So I don't want you to feel like, oh, I'm like rubbing all this shit in your face. I'm just more, if anything, I want to inspire you that if you've had a shit year, like where you just lost like your favorite person of all time, or maybe you went through a bad breakup, or like whatever, it's like, it's gonna be okay. Like, at one point you're gonna get better. And even if you lose, because I've lost my favorite person of all time. Like, my grandma was like my person. Like, there was nobody in this world I was closer to than that woman. Like, that was the person I most related to, and I didn't think that life could go on after I lost her, and it did. And I'm here, and some days I appreciate that she's gone. Like, not like that sounds mean, but like, it's like I realized, like, I couldn't grow in so many ways because she was so, like, she wanted to baby me and take care of me forever, and it was like, I wouldn't grow and I wouldn't be the person I am right now if she was still here. And as shitty as it is that she's not still here, it's like, sometimes you have to take the good with the bad, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I have to accept, like, hey, she's not here anymore, so I have to make the best of it. And if she's out there watching anywhere, then I want to make her proud. So that's what I do. But I love you guys. I hope that you are having a really, really fantastic Saturday. Well, it's Saturday when I think I'm actually going to just straight upload this, which I don't do very much anymore. I usually, like, will wait a few days to upload. I think I'm going to make a few videos once I get home, and those I'll space out a little bit more. But for now, I think you'll get this video today. So happy Saturday. I love you guys.